ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm back, and the host this time, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's the Midday Market Report with good friend and colleague, Mr. Adrew McInnis, and it's Christmas Day for him. His Jays go for a sweep in the Bronx, one step closer to the ALCS, and it's opening night in hockey. We got 3 games on tap: Chicago, Florida, Pittsburgh Rangers, and the nightcap, the best one on the board, at least from a numbers standpoint. Colorado travels to Los Angeles. I like this. On Tuesdays I'm here with Andrew, and on Fridays I'm on his channel at McInnis Picks. Make sure you go follow him, and of course at WagerWire. Little pucks, props, and thoughts, but we'll get his flavor and temperature on the Jays, as the Jays today. Dogs today, Bieber versus Rodon. If you like the Jays today, you can get them plus 135 for the sweep. I think the number's a little low on the Yankees, minus 150, but we'll see there. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. And of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Steak, seafood, chops, appetizers, wine. You know the drill by now. Terry's got it all. 4 subscription plans, set it and forget it, like myself. Every 30 days I get a box of protein delivered right to my front door. The only thing I got to make sure I have is a spare propane tank. So without further ado, let's bring him on Christmas Day. Adrew McInnis.
It is Christmas Day, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm excited. You know, in our lanes, we always talk about how there's just, different calendars. We don't go off the regular calendar everybody else does. We go off a sports calendar. So as much as I've been enjoying betting the CFL, following the NFL every Monday or every Sunday and all the primetime games, and cheering on the Jays in postseason and watching baseball, it's always that fresh feeling when a brand new sport starts. And hockey's my sport that I love so much, but I'll be honest, you get that same feeling on MLB opening day. You get that same feeling for me the first weekend of the CFL season. It's just something so nice about a fresh season getting underway. Now, one thing interesting about the NHL, though, a Tuesday night for the first game. It's not a Saturday night. They like to kick things off during the week. Kind of interesting they do it that way, but certainly really exciting.
Before we dive into the hockey, our own little pucks, props, and thoughts as we'll wrap things up, as you got a busy day ahead of you, big show ahead of you in about 45 minutes. Can't keep Mr. Dan Alexander late there, God forbid, on the first day here. But give me the feeling in J country here. You didn't just win the first 2 games. You stepped on their throat. The offense is cooking with Crisco. Vlad Guerrero, that's the Vladdy that I wanted here. And give you Devers. I talked to you at length about that one.
Yeah.
offense cooking with Crisco, and your text with me. Where's Bieber? What are they doing with Bieber? And well, this is a kid that can handle the big stage, the big spotlight. Settled in, a nice little dog today. But what's the temperature in Jayville?
Well, first of all, Savage was a savage. He was unbelievable. You and I talked about it, and I always love running baseball stuff by you. We talked about how the Blue Jays were favored in game one, but underdogs in the series. And people thought, and the funny thing is, we're looking at the Gausman matchup. And, well, if we look back at it, we can recall the bases were loaded with 0 outs at one point when Gausman was on the mound. I think that only resulted in just one run, making that a 2-1 ball game at the time. But Gausman gets the win. Then all the Yankees fans saying, hey, pump the brakes here. We've got Fried versus a guy that's just barely even played any MLB starts. 11 strikeouts. So the fact that they were able to use Savage in their second game at home and not have to use him for that many innings, it did get a little dicey, and I didn't really like seeing the Yankees batters get that confidence. I want to know your thoughts on that, but I know it was the right move. Getting Bieber to go in game 3, it's really the picture perfect story here. You want the veteran out there. You want the guy that's pitched at Yankee Stadium in high pressure, high intensity games. But Jeff, I mentioned about being worried about the Yankees getting some confidence by being able to swing the bat late in game 2. But I mean, let's go down the list, down the lineup right now. Whoever has been in for the Blue Jays has been phenomenal. How about Dalton Varsho? 4 extra base hits, not to mention the homers as well. And then Vladimir Guerrero. I mean, Toronto fans, cough, cough, they want Austin Matthews, and they wanted Mitch Marner to do this. They have been dying for a big-time player to make a big-time play since I've been born, pretty much. Vladdy gets the grand slam. You guys are playing real well. And, I always talk to you about the whole 3-step approach, the home run, walk, or strikeout with some of these teams. Got to give credit. The Yankees were able to find some runs, but I love how this Jays team is scoring both ways right now. They're getting the long ball going, but they're also bringing runners in as well.
And by winning game 1, you had some flexibility there. I think, just my talk, if you had lost game 1, I think you would have thrown Bieber to stop the bleeding, and you would have had to bring out the rookie Savage to the Bronx and the big stage. But by winning game 1, it was a lot easier, and hats off to your manager there. Hey, let the kid, he just slept in his bed, let him pitch at home, let him feed off of the crowd. And even if we do lose that game, then we got the veteran there, the crafty veteran Bieber, going for game 3. So again, applause. Again, I think the number was short. It opened at 150, still 150 at the Circa. Good morning to Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens there. But exciting times, obviously, for the Jays, and a loss tomorrow. A loss today, then you still got tomorrow. Schlitzter. Do you know who's starting game 4, or who's penciled in for game 4, if necessary, for your Jays?
Some people are saying they could just go right back to Gausman because of the extra rest that they would have and the fact that he didn't pitch before and all the time. Some people are saying it could be a bullpen game, could be just an opening type of game. Yeah, they're saying that it could go all the way around to him. So who knows with that?
Opening night in hockey. Listen, I know on paper Chicago, Florida. Right now, it opened at Florida minus 323. Right now at the Circa minus 280, a 5.5 over. Bedard. We know Chicago is still a work in progress. And then, of course, the Panthers probably hoist the banner tonight. But they got some bad news a couple weeks ago. Barkov injured during practice, out for the season. The heart and soul in my eyes of that team. Thoughts on no Barkov for the Panthers for the whole season?
Well, Jeff, I think that with Barkov, he brings the element defensively just as much as he brings it offensively. So we might see some goals, especially early on, involving the Panthers games. He's a guy that has been known as a 200-foot player. There's a reason why he wins the Selke Award pretty much every single season. The Selke Award pretty much being the best defensive forward in the game. So, look, he's surrounded by talent with Tkachuk, with Reinhart, with all of those great players, but he's also a good defensive forward. That's a big loss for them. Like, I'm not saying when they miss Tkachuk that he doesn't miss they don't miss his defense at all. But when you're missing Barkov, you're missing a centerman. You're missing a two-way forward. That's what I look at there. Obviously, it affects the power play. It affects your offense. But most importantly, I think it does affect the defensive responsibilities. Now, I think this is a good opportunity for player props for a guy like Anton Lundell and someone like that. And I think there's a couple other names that we can bring up down the line that would be able to step in and kind of fill those roles. I think we're going to even see a guy like Evan Rodriguez and Sam Bennett even step up even more after, of course, Sam Bennett signed that contract this offseason. But I think, Jeff, the key to point out is defensively. That's a big loss as well, not just offensively.
The second game, Pittsburgh and the Rangers overnight. Rangers minus 206. Now 220, 230 in some spots. You can grab the Penguins plus 195. Opened up 5.5 over, 5.5 under minus 14 cents. There are a couple spots. Circa is one that it's been pushed to 6. Bounce back year for the Rangers. Shesterkin in some games, but he wasn't some others. And a Pittsburgh team that I think is on the decline, correct?
Yeah, I don't know anyone that's high on the Penguins going into this season. That's for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, Crosby's still Crosby. He's still going to do what he's going to do. But all the talk of will he go to the Avalanche? Will he go to Montreal? Will he go to a contending team at the deadline? My opinion is starting to change here, Jeff. It really is. And guess what? The season hasn't even started yet, and my opinion is starting to change. When you look at this Pittsburgh Penguins team, they're just not building around him. And my stance has always been he has 3 Stanley Cups. He wants to be a classy gentleman like everybody knows him to be. He wants to follow in Mario Lemieux's footsteps, and he wants to lead the next generation. But I think it's also on the GM to keep building a winner around him, similar to what they've done with Ovechkin in Washington. So here's what I'm saying here, Jeff. I think what's going to happen with this Pittsburgh team, despite Brian Rust and some injuries taking place early on this season, this may be a team, and I'm not saying it'll happen tonight, this may be a team that will cash some decent underdog tickets or at least score some goals and make things interesting to start the season. Yanni the Greek always talks about the variance of an MLB 162-game season on Wager Talk programs. He always mentions that. Baseball is one of those sports where, the Tigers in the first half of the season versus the Tigers in the second half, or different teams you can bet on against. Well, the Penguins, they don't know they're bad yet. Once they figure out they're bad in the middle of November and December, it's going to be all downhill from there. Maybe they'll cash some underdog tickets here. But New York, they underachieved big time as well. They got a new captain this year. I think it's kind of a weird look. I'm curious your take here, Jeff. I mean, what does it say about the leadership in a room if they trade for a guy at the deadline last year and all of a sudden now he's their captain? Were there no other leaders in the room? Were there nobody? I always find it's kind of a problem when a guy gets traded to a team and now he's the captain, because it kind of shows me, hey, there must have been something missing as far as a voice in that room if a guy that just got here is your new captain. So a lot of pressure on this Rangers team as well. I'll tell you what, this is fun to be thinking like this, because it's always great to think like this on opening nights. Kind of the opposite of NFL sometimes. Jeff, I like overs a lot over these first 2 days of the NHL. And Ralph Michaels sent something over to us here at Wager Talk. Since 2016, NHL game number 1 with a total of 6 or lower. So 6 and 5.5, 153, 73, and 17 over under, 61.2% to the over. Pittsburgh's defense won't be good, but I feel like they can help out with scoring.
I do agree there. I'm looking at these numbers, and I'm a team total guy, and nothing is hit the to start. They're kind of giving you a couple carrots on the Florida over 3.5, but you got to lay a quarter. And the same with the Rangers, which they don't hit the soft spot. But I think the game of the night, 10:37 puck drops. Colorado at the Kings overnight. The Kings minus 113. Colorado minus 107, 5.5 over minus 16 cents. There is a flip at the Circa. Now Colorado minus 107 and the Kings minus 105. So the guys at the Circa taking some action on the Avs tonight. And as I read this board, first 1-3 wins this game. Thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real good one. I think. Look, I've been high on the Avalanche for a while. Everybody knows I'm a McKinnon fan. But one thing I'll say about this team, they got a chip on their shoulder here, Jeff. Like, they haven't done much damage around the league since they won the Stanley Cup. You look at their playoff appearances, you look at kind of what they've done throughout the past few seasons. Hasn't been anything too special. Last year, they dealt with the drama. And in the NHL, you don't really want teams dealing with drama. It's not as normal to see that. And the fact that they had to get rid of Mikko Rantanen, and then they had to find someone to replace him, and they had to do all this stuff, and then Gabriel Landeskog coming back, and so much going on. This year, Jeff, it's a clean slate of health, and it's a finalized roster. So I do like that as far as the Avalanche are concerned. As far as the Kings are concerned, picking up Yoel Armia from the Canadiens, I think it's a good pickup for their bottom six. The big question for them is going to be secondary scoring. That's always been the issue for the LA Kings. They've got a deep roster as far as guys that can make plays, but can they get secondary scoring? Talking to a lot of people in the hockey industry that look at West Coast, because obviously I follow the East Coast divisions a little bit better. One thing people are worried about with this LA Kings team is their defensive core. Mikey Anderson, Drew Doughty, Brian Dumoulin, Brant Clark, Joel Edmondson, and Cody Ceci. I mean, besides Brant Clark, they're hurting as far as the average age is concerned, Jeff. Here, this D-core, a little bit up there in age, a little bit older. And as far as that division's concerned, you don't really want to have an aging defensive core. So that might be something that we look at. You and I talk a lot about teams we might want to bet on as far as their team totals. This year, there could be value in betting against the LA Kings on the other team's team total. I think we see more goals in Kings games this season.
Well, again, Avs started so poorly last year, banged up, and we were looking as their futures. Avs are one of those lightning rods. Again, even with a slow start, you're not going to get the true value, because they're not going to all of a sudden go from 10, 12 to 1 to 24 to 1 for the slow start. So again, the flip there, my eyes might be on the Avs to find a way to get to 3 and get the win. If you like their team total today, I just want to pop that up just to see. Avs team total, over 2.5 minus 155. No thanks.
Yeah.
There. If you liked Pittsburgh to score 3 tonight and get their team total over 2.5 plus 103, if somehow, some way, you think the Blackhawks can get to 3 today, you can get their team total over 2.5 plus 144. So maybe Bedard with a couple goals and assists there. I know you only got a few minutes here left here. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't have you to talk a little Habs here. You got to be stoked for the season. Any thoughts early on? Is it need a fast start? Is it going to be, hey, on the road 6-5, at home 3-2? What's your thought process with the Habs early this season?
My thought process early in the season, right now, first 2 games, they got the Leafs and they got the Red Wings. Jeff, I'm not the kind of guy that bets on my favorite team too many times. In fact, I certainly wish I took the Blue Jays both games this past weekend, but I got too caught up just being a fan and didn't want to do it. This is a spot, and I'm going to put it on the record here on the show, and I don't do this very often. I'm taking the Montreal Canadiens tomorrow at the plus money. And if they lose, I'm taking the plus money against the Red Wings as well. I think at the very least they go 1-1 to start the season. They're plus money in both of their divisional matchups to start off the season. I like that approach. I like that this team needs to have a fast start. The biggest message at training camp for the Montreal Canadiens has been be ready on time. This season, this team, we talked about it a couple weeks together, that they were on the ice like a whole team. Apparently there was like 30 players in August practicing without any coaches, just a team practice, captain's practice, they call it. They're dialed in, but they know last year their worst months of the calendar season were October and November. So, I think plus money to start against Toronto and against Detroit. I like it quite a bit. Props are going to be confusing with this team because the lineup's been very spread out as of right now. I'm going to be really interesting to dive into it. That second line right now with Demidov and Kapanen might be an interesting one to look at. Newhook, Kapanen, and Demidov. But Jeff, I think the underdog prices right now on this Montreal team, something to look at, as I just think they're going to be, the past few years, they haven't really been appropriately priced, but let's be honest, they've been saved by goaltending. They've caught timely goals. They've won in overtime. This is the most confident I felt about this team, but maybe they're going to still get these plus money prices. I'll have to bet on them. So game one, they're underdogs. If they win it, I'll take my money, walk away, go to the cash counter, go to dinner. But if they don't win it, I'm going to bet one more unit again on them against the Red Wings. And I think at worst we get the split.
Well, as always, everyone knows where to follow you on X at McInnis Picks. They know to go to Wager Talk, of course, to get all your selections. WT.buzz/AM. Promo code NHL200 takes $200 off the full NHL season. But as we always wrap up this show here, I give you the mic and the stage to tell them what you got behind closed doors.
I really appreciate that, Jeff. You have $5 Tuesday, so $5 for my favorite play of the day over at Wager Talk. So if you don't want to invest in the full season, if you don't want to grab a month or a week, just for now, today, spend $5, grab my favorite bet of the day, sit back, relax, cash a ticket with me into the NHL. And if that cashes, well, maybe you can buy a week pass. Maybe you can buy a 1-month pass. Jeff, before I get out of here, I got a first period over play that I really like, and it's the first game of the night. Let's start the season off with our first bet of the calendar hockey season with a first period over. Why not? The last game, game one of the season for the Florida Panthers, of course, with them going back-to-back, their banner-raising night last year, there was a total of 10 goals. That game finished 6-4 in favor of Florida over the Boston Bruins. You talked about team totals and talked about first period stuff even. Chicago, over under 0.5 goals, minus 110 in the first period. For Florida, it's like minus 220. I think both teams score in the first period. I'm going to sprinkle on the first period team total over for Chicago. I'm going to take over 1.5 goals for both teams. Best price available I've seen, Circa, Pinnacle, and Bet Online around minus 117 first period over. And a player prop for everybody out there, Cale Makar, power play point, plus 180. The guy goes from minus 200 to get a regular point, 5-on-5, Jeff, to plus 180 to get a power play point. You know who he's the quarterback of that power play. He's always getting the touches, dishing the puck. I think he's got a really good chance to get that plus 180 price here. Want to cash a nice plus price player prop to start things off for us.
Plenty of action there. Go follow Andrew at McInnis Picks, of course, on Wager Talk. He'll be live in exactly 17 minutes. I want to thank Bucks Forever, Carol Bucks, and, of course, Amber Hawley and the whole Wager Wire community. The best in the business. I love you guys to death. Thank you for all the love and support. Myself will be back soon. Everyone, enjoy hockey. Enjoy the MLB playoffs, and stay tuned.